Nikola, let's talk about real business. Most people think the AI race is about who builds the best model. But you've been betting that the models become commodities and that the real race is infrastructure. What do you see that the model companies are missing?
And over the last 3.5 years, as we've been, running Deep Infra, we've seen a great advance in both categories, but we've seen the open source models like catch up closer and closer to the best closed source models. And if you look at like comparisons on artificial analysis and other sites, you will see that the top open source models are just a couple percent behind, and they're better than, I guess, the top versions, the closed source labs that are like 6 months old. So the other thing that there was a big risk when we were starting. Like, if we were running Deep Infra as an inference cloud, if we focus on a single model, if let's say OpenAI has the only good model, then there'll be a little business for us to do. But actually happy, and I think it's good for the world as a whole, that the technology of building these models doesn't seem to be as restrictive. So like number of open source labs have managed to produce very, very decent open source models. Yes, the majority of them are currently not in the US, but overall I feel like pretty bullish about the prospects for open source AI models.
Let's maybe also put that in layman's terms, is not everyone listening to the podcast will be deeply embedded in the AI world yet. When you say they're just a couple of percentages behind, can we express that a little bit in like months of delay, years of delay compared to the leaders in the field? Are they just like a year behind, just a couple of months behind? Where are they at? Where, let's say, OpenAI or Anthropic was like how much time ago?
So at, at the moment, my best kind of guess is they're around 6 months or less in quality. And the percentages are not complex things. Basically, when we build these AI models, we can test how good they are by giving them a test. The same way, you and I would have done like an SAT or something like that. And then you see how well the model can answer a set of questions. And so there's many different benchmarks, some test coding, some test knowledge, and so on. But if you look across the board, I think that the gap between the best closed source models and the best open source model has narrowed to 3 to 5% in a lot of these benchmarks out of 100. And I think basically we're about 6 months behind. So this is why we're really excited about inference and infrastructure. You know, about 80% of our compute power will end up going to inference. And it wasn't like this 3 years ago. Like when we were developing the models very rapidly, like a lot will get invested in the training, and you will train a model. The model will only get like light usage for a couple months, then you train a better model. But we've reached levels where the models are becoming really, really useful to many people. Obviously, they're disrupting the software development industry massively, but also like almost every other area as well. And so we believe a lot of time will be spent during inference, and building the right infrastructure for inference is like what we're really focused on. Like it starts from the ground up. It starts from the selection of the data centers and the selection of the GPUs and servers and their configuration, and how you orchestrate the machines into a cluster. And this is where I think a lot of work needs to go into to get a really optimized, I guess, configuration and software and structure so we can produce tokens at a low cost. The other thing we think is like the low cost tokens are more important than the fast tokens.